Imagine being a chameleon, being able to shift your identity everywhere you go. That's what a TCK can do. According to Dave Pollock, co-author of TCK's Growing Up Among Worlds, a TCK, or third culture kid, is an individual who, having spent a significant part of the developmental years in a culture other than the parent's culture, develops a sense of relationship to all of the cultures while not having full ownership in any. Elements from each culture are incorporated into the life experience, but the sense of belonging is in relationships to others of similar experiences. TCKs later become ATCKs, or adult third culture kids. Hi, I'm Natalie, and I'm a TCK. I've grown up in the United States, China, and Taiwan, with parents from both the US and Mexico. It has made me wonder what my life would be like if my family had never moved to China. Being a TCK has made me think about how I'm different from other children my age. According to Dr. Angela Guok from Manhattan Therapy Collective, some benefits of being a TCK are having a global perspective, meaning that they have heightened sensitivity, more appreciation of diverse lifestyles, cultural values, and are more culturally sensitive and more aware and interested in people from other cultures and countries. TCKs may also be more confident and better leaders and better at coping with change than other children their age, Pollock says. Rebecca Grappo, an educational consultant who specializes in the placement of TCK, says there are 3 basic needs all children need: belonging, recognition, and connection. However, these needs are stripped away for TCKs each time they move. According to Nina Seitel, co-author of Unrated Childhoods, TCKs may lose their friends, their family, their community, their pets, their language, their home, their place of comfort, and their identity. Ruth Van Rieken and David Pollock, co-authors of Third Culture Kids Growing Up Among Worlds, say that TCKs may show their unresolved grief in 5 stages. Their unresolved grief can affect their relationships. Knowing that they will eventually have to say goodbye may cause them to not fully invest in their relationships, and this may continue into their adulthood and affect them and they may struggle to make close and meaningful relationships, struggle to make any long-term commitment to anyone or to anything. However, this may go in the opposite direction, and they may hold on too close or too tight to their relationships, explains Dr. Guok. TCKs may also face identity confusion and challenges in their identity development. Kwang-Min Choi, PhD with Psychology Today, says that TCKs with a difficulty embracing their past may have a hard time embracing their cross-culture experiences and a hard time resolving their identity issues. TCKs may develop a weak sense of belonging due to not having enough contact experience with their home culture or their host culture in which they grew up in. They may develop a sense of belonging through relationships rather than through geographical roots or cultural roots, explains Choi. Their grief can affect their mental health. Van Rieken states that the issue is that transition always involves loss. No matter how good the next phase will be, loss always engenders grief, and the greater you have loved a situation or place or people, the greater the grief. This grief may seem like depression, however it's not. But when a TCK is unable to mourn properly, they may become depressed, and they could be stuck in this depression stage, and it might affect them when they become ATCKs. Kathleen Gilbert, who has researched grief among TCKs, writes that losses that are not successfully resolved in childhood have an increased likelihood of reoccurring in adulthood, meaning that the more they have moved, the more long-term consequences it may have on them if they are unable to grieve properly. However, some might argue that there are no effects from being a TCK, but according to Pollock, there are many things that might affect a TCK. Overall, there are many effects, both good and bad. TCKs aren't regular children. They haven't grown up in one place their whole life. They move from place to place, and they all have their own unique story. If you see a TCK around you struggling, talk to them and ask them how they are, where they have lived, and most importantly, listen. Thank you.